In this lecture, we are going to study about the wave-particle duality of matter. In the previous lectures, we have studied about the dual nature of radiation, means the electromagnetic radiation, that is the whole electromagnetic spectra, right from X-rays, then your UV rays, visible light, IR radiation, microwaves, and also radio waves. All these have dual nature, means they have particle nature as well as they have a wave nature. And we have seen the different phenomena which the wave nature can explain and the phenomena which the particle nature can explain. Okay, in some cases, as we have seen, the wave nature dominates, and in other cases, the particle nature dominates. So, as radiation has dual nature, means if the radiation can behave like a particle, there was an obvious question raised at that time that can particle also have a wave nature? Means can matter behave like a wave? And the answer to this question was found by Louis de Broglie. De Broglie found out that yes, matter can also behave like waves. And these waves, which were associated with the particles, were called as matter waves or de Broglie waves. Now let us see what is the formula to calculate the wavelength of these waves. The waves which are associated with the matter means matter waves. See, the formula can be derived with the help of the special theory of relativity. Okay, so E is equal to Pc, E is the energy, P is the momentum, and C is the speed of light. This formula has come from the special theory of relativity, Einstein's special theory of relativity. Now, from this, we can find the momentum P is equal to E by C. And as we have discussed during the properties of photon, what is the formula for energy? E is equal to h nu. So put h nu in the place of E and C remains as it is. Now we have learned in the 10th standard or 9th standard that C is equal to nu lambda. Okay, so instead of nu, we can put C by lambda over there. So here we are having P is equal to h nu by C. Instead of nu, the frequency, we can put nu is equal to C by lambda. Here nu is the frequency of the radiation and lambda is the wavelength of the radiation. Okay. Then here Cc gets cancelled and we get the formula for momentum, that is P is equal to h by lambda. And from that we can find lambda is equal to h upon P. So this equation, lambda is equal to h upon P, is called as the de Broglie equation. And that is the equation for the de Broglie wavelength. Okay. So what did de Broglie say? As light can show particle nature, it can behave like a particle. Similarly, particles can also behave like waves. And the wavelength of such waves can be given by the de Broglie formula, that is lambda is equal to h upon P, where lambda is the wavelength of the matter wave or the de Broglie wave, h is the Planck's constant, and P is the momentum of the particle that is moving, whose wave we are defining. That particle is moving and P is the momentum of that particle. And we know that momentum is mass into velocity. So instead of P, we can write mv, where m is the mass of the moving particle and v is the velocity of the moving particle. So as light can behave as particle, particles can also behave as waves. Okay? Suppose there is a particle of mass m which is moving with velocity v, and we have to find out the de Broglie wavelength of such particle. We will use this formula, lambda is equal to h upon mv. Another important relation or another important concept that de Broglie teaches us using this formula is that the wave nature is associated only with the moving particle. If the particle is at rest, we cannot find out the wave nature for that particle, or we cannot have wave nature for that particle, because when we say lambda is equal to h upon mv, and if the particle is at rest, so the velocity becomes 0, and then your lambda becomes not defined. So you cannot define lambda, or you cannot have the wave nature for the particle which is at rest. So if you have to find the wave nature of the particle, that particle has to be moving with certain velocity. That is a very important concept. If the particle is at rest, you will not have wave nature for that particle. The wave nature will not be defined. Now, the obvious question is that we are matter, we are made up of matter, and if particles can have if the particles can have wave nature, so we should also have wave nature. The ball which I throw, if I throw a ball towards you, that should also have a wave nature. Then why can't we see those waves? Why can't we recognize those waves? That is the question. Yes, all the massive bodies, all the matter around us does have a wave nature. Right from small electron, which is a matter. Electron is matter. Okay. So right from electron, proton, atoms to big planets, wave nature of particle is present. But let us see the difference between the wave nature for average weight object on the earth, which we can see, and for a moving electron. So let's see the difference between the what is the difference between the wave nature of electron, and what is the difference between the wave nature of a vehicle which is moving with certain velocity on road. So if we can when we see the difference, you will recognize why we are not able to sense the matter waves generated by the objects which are or the objects which we deal with in our daily life. And the electron is having a wave nature which is very much recognized, and we can control the wavelength of electrons, and we can sense that wavelength. Okay, so let's see why this happens. See, first I have taken example of a vehicle. That vehicle is having a mass of 100 kg, and it is moving with the velocity of 60 km per hour. Let's calculate the de Broglie wavelength of this vehicle first. Okay, so we know what is the formula for de Broglie wavelength. Lambda is equal to h upon mv. Put the value of h 6.63 into 10 raised to minus 34 divided by m, that is 100 kg, and the velocity is 60 km per hour. When I convert it into meters per second, I get 100 by 6. I put it there, and my answer is approximately 36 into 10 raised to minus 34 meter. That is the wavelength of the vehicle which is moving with the velocity of 60 km per hour and whose weight is 100 kg. Now let's calculate the de Broglie wavelength of electron moving with the velocity of 0.1 c. What is the meaning of 0.1 c? Means it is c is the velocity of light, so c divided by 10. It is moving with that velocity. Okay, let's put the values here. H is the Planck's constant. Mass of electron is 9.1 into 10 raised to minus 31 into what is c? What is the velocity? 0.1 c. So 0.1 into 10 raised to minus 8. Okay. So what will we get? The wavelength that we get is in the order of 2 into 10 raised to 3 meters. So compare, where is 2 into 10 raised to 3 meters and where is 36 into 10 raised to minus 34. minus 10 raised to minus 34 is a very, very, very small value. So it is impossible to detect such waves. It's very difficult to detect such waves. But for electron, the wavelength is 2 into 10 raised to 3 meters, which is very large as compared to 36 into 10 raised to minus 34 meters. So we use this concept of matter waves for small particles. Okay. Now let's derive a formula. Now we have to calculate the de Broglie wavelength for particle of mass m moving with velocity v and kinetic energy ek. Now what is the thing they have given? That the kinetic energy of the particle is ek, and velocity of that particle is v, and we have to find the de Broglie wavelength. So we know lambda is equal to h upon p. That we know. That is equal to h upon mv. Now here h is in this formula, h is a constant. So we need to find the momentum. That is mv. Okay. And we can find that from the expression for kinetic energy, because ek, kinetic energy, is equal to 1 by 2 mv square. From that I can get v square is equal to 2 ek by m, and v is equal to square root of 2 ek by m. So let's put the value of v there. H upon mv. Let's put the value of v. V is equal to 2 ek by m. So root m gets cancelled, and I get the final expression that h upon square root of 2m ek. So if you have a numerical, and in that numerical you have that they have mentioned that the kinetic energy of the particle is so much and the mass of the particle is so much, find the de Broglie wavelength of that particle. So you have to use this formula, that h upon square root of 2me, where E is the kinetic energy of that particle. You can find the de Broglie wavelength using this formula. Now, there is another case which they give. Now, here I was talking about only kinetic energy. But if they give you that there is a particle, there is a charged particle, and that charged particle is accelerated by applying so much of potential difference. Yes, we need to apply potential difference to accelerate charged particles, right? So if we apply potential difference, and if there is a charged particle and that charged particle is accelerated using that potential difference, then they will give the value of the charge, they will give you the value of the potential difference, and they will say they'll give you mass of that particle, and they'll ask you to find the de Broglie wavelength of such particle. Now when the particle is accelerated, the particle is moving. So every moving particle has a wave nature. So we can find the de Broglie wavelength for this particle also. But here, the kinetic energy that is gained by the particle here, when the particle is accelerated by applying potential difference, the kinetic energy gained by the particle is given by charged into the potential difference. Charge q of the particle into the potential difference. So just in the above formula, lambda is equal to h upon square root of 2m ek. In the place of the kinetic energy ek, you just have to put qv, where q is the charge of the particle and v is the potential difference. So you can calculate the wavelength of charged particles. Now here, if suppose the charged particle given to you is electron. If it is electron, then what we will do, lambda is equal to h upon square root of 2 mqv, where v is the potential difference. What we will do here is, in the place of mass, put mass of electron, in the place of charge, put charge of electron. So in this formula, when we put mass and charge of electron, all the terms become constant except the potential difference that we apply, because h is a Planck's constant, that is constant, 2 is constant, Mass of electron is 9.1 into 10 raised to minus 31 kg, that is constant. Then charge of electron is 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb, that is constant. So what is remaining? That only V is remaining. And when you calculate the value of these constants, when you find the value of 6.63 into 10 raised to minus 34 divided by square root of 2 into 9.1 into 10 raised to minus 1 into 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19, you get this value 1.22 into 10 to the power minus 9. You get this value. And what remains in the denominator? That is square root of V. That is a potential difference. Okay. So you can use this formula if they have given that the charged particle is electron. If they have not given that the charged particle is electron, then you have to use this formula. Lambda is equal to h upon 2mqv, where m is the mass of the charged particle, q is the charge of the charged particle, and v is the potential difference. If they have given you that the particle is electron, then only you can use this formula. This 1.228 into 10 raised to minus 9 upon v. Now, for this 10 raised to minus 9, for this 10 raised to minus 9, I can write nanometer. Yes, 10 raised to minus 9 meters mean nanometer. So my lambda in nanometer will be 1.228 upon square root of v. Okay, and so if suppose they have given you a numerical that if an electron is accelerated through the potential difference of 120 volt, find the de Broglie wavelength. So what we will do? Electron. Now they have given that it is an electron. So use this above formula, that lambda in nanometer is equal to 1.228 upon square root of V. Put the value of V 120. Then you get the answer 0.112 nanometers.